if you're healing from someone who made you feel unimportant, please subscribe to Soulfelt Words so you never walk through that healing journey alone. There is a certain kind of heartbreak that doesn't come from being rejected directly, but from waiting and waiting for someone who never showed up for you in the first place. You didn't ask for much, a message back, a little time, a sign you mattered, the simplest efforts that love would do naturally. But what you received instead was silence, delay, confusion, and an ache that grew heavier each time you convinced yourself they were just busy, when deep down you knew they were choosing not to show up. Waiting for someone who doesn't love you enough is a quiet, painful kind of self-betrayal, not because you're weak, but because you believed in their potential more than they ever believed in you. You kept telling yourself that if you waited just a little longer, they would finally see your worth, that if you stayed loyal, they would stay too, that if you gave your heart gently, they would someday hold it gently in return. But people rarely become what we imagine them to be. You saw what they could have been if they loved you fully, and that fantasy kept you there long after their actions told the truth. You tried to understand their distance. You tried to fill the conversation gaps. You tried to swallow disappointments that quietly chipped pieces off your self-esteem. But eventually, your heart grew tired, not because you stopped caring, but because caring alone wasn't enough to keep you alive. There comes a moment when waiting becomes too painful for even the softest soul, and that's when the healing begins. The hardest part of waiting wasn't the silence, it was the hope that one day they would wake up and choose you without hesitation, hope that your loyalty would inspire theirs, hope that maybe you were wrong about the distance you felt growing, but hope without effort from both sides is just a slow heartbreak in disguise. You wanted to believe that they cared enough to show up for you, but caring is proven through presence, not promises. There were moments when they gave you just enough to keep you holding on, a sweet message, a moment of warmth, a glimpse of the person you wished they were all the time. But inconsistency is not love, it is emotional starvation, a cycle of crumbs that made you feel grateful for the bare minimum, and you deserve so much more than almost love. You deserve someone who shows up because they want to, not because they fear losing you, someone who chooses you with clarity, not hesitation, someone whose presence is not something you have to earn. When you stop waiting, something shifts inside you. It's not anger, it's awareness, the awareness that your heart has value and deserves effort, not excuses. You begin to see the truth. The right person will never make you chase clarity. They will offer it freely because your peace matters to them. And slowly, painfully slowly, you stop waiting for their message. You stop checking if they watched your story. You stop imagining a future where they suddenly become the partner they never were in the past. You begin to return to yourself. Healing truly begins the moment you realize you were never waiting for love. You were waiting for effort from someone incapable of giving it. You weren't asking for too much. You were asking the wrong person. And when your heart understands that, something beautiful happens. You stop longing for the version of them that never existed. You stop giving them credit for emotions they never actually showed. You stop blaming yourself for their lack of effort. Instead, you start choosing yourself. You start pouring the love you gave them back into your own healing. You begin reclaiming the self-worth you'd placed in their hands. You begin remembering who you were before their silence made you doubt yourself. And one day, without even realizing it. You check your phone, and their name doesn't trigger anything. Not sadness, not hope, just nothing. That nothing is healing. It's the soft, quiet freedom you've been searching for. You stop waiting because you finally understand that the love you deserve doesn't require patience. It arrives with certainty, and the right person will never make you feel like an option in the story you're trying to build together. You deserve presence, not promises, effort, not excuses, consistency, not confusion. And the moment you embrace that, your heart begins to bloom in ways you never imagined. Thank you for listening, beautiful soul. If these words brought you comfort, please like, share, and subscribe to Soulfelt Words so these healing stories can continue finding you. Your support means everything